Lake Kivu, a picturesque expanse nestled between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, bore witness to a horrifying tragedy on October 3, 2024. An overloaded ferry carrying hundreds of passengers capsized near the Port of Kituku in Goma, North Kivu province. The vessel, its decks packed with men, women and children, suddenly tilted sideways. It then capsized, sending its human cargo into the dark waters. Video footage of the incident, shared widely on social media, showed the chaotic scene as the boat foundered. Screams pierced the air as people struggled to stay afloat amidst the churning water. The images, stark and deeply disturbing, served as a grim testament to the scale of the disaster. As rescuers raced to the scene, a sense of dread and disbelief settled over the region. The incident, the latest in a string of similar tragedies, highlighted the perilous state of water transportation in the region. It also underscored the human cost of inadequate safety measures and the urgent need for change. In the immediate aftermath of the disaster, confusion reigned as conflicting reports about the death toll emerged. Regional officials struggled to provide accurate figures, hampered by the chaotic nature of the incident and the ongoing search and rescue operations. Jean-Jacques Purissi, governor of South Kivu province, announced a death toll of 78, a figure that sent shockwaves through the nation. However, the governor of neighboring North Kivu province, where the incident occurred, offered a different account. He reported 28 confirmed deaths and 58 survivors, a discrepancy that fueled uncertainty and frustration. Adding to the confusion, Governor Purissi acknowledged that determining the precise number of victims would be a lengthy process. Not all bodies had been recovered, and the search for the missing continued. Divers scoured the depths of Lake Kivu, hoping to find survivors but bracing themselves for the grim task of recovering more bodies. Amidst the tragedy and uncertainty, stories of survival emerged, offering glimmers of hope. Alfani Buroko Byamungu, a 51-year-old passenger on the ill-fated ferry, recounted his harrowing experience, providing a chilling first-hand account of the disaster. Byamungu described the terrifying moment the boat capsized, the suddenness of it all leaving him with a feeling of disbelief. He was thrown into the water, surrounded by panicked passengers, some crying out for help, others struggling to stay afloat. He saw women and children, their faces etched with fear, disappear beneath the surface as the chaos unfolded around him. Clinging to debris, Byamungu fought to stay above water. He watched as fellow passengers succumbed to the unforgiving lake, their hope extinguished with each passing moment. His own survival, he believed, was a miracle, a testament to divine intervention and the tireless efforts of Congolese troops who eventually pulled him from the water. As news of the ferry disaster spread, a wave of anger and frustration swept through the Democratic Republic of Congo. Public outrage, fueled by a sense of helplessness and a history of similar tragedies, was directed at the authorities, accused of negligence and indifference. Residents, their voices filled with anger and grief, pointed to the poor state of road infrastructure in the region, a consequence of years of conflict and instability. This neglect, they argued, forced people to rely on overcrowded and often poorly maintained boats for essential travel, putting their lives at risk. The ferry disaster, they argued, was not an isolated incident, but a tragic consequence of systemic failures. It was a stark reminder of the government's failure to provide safe and reliable transportation options for its citizens, particularly in conflict-affected regions. Section 5. A history of tragedy, overcrowding and lax regulations. The tragic incident on Lake Kivu, while shocking in its scale, was not an isolated event. It served as a grim reminder of the dangers of water transportation in the Democratic Republic of Congo, a nation grappling with a history of similar disasters. Overcrowding, a chronic problem on ferries plying the waters of Lake Kivu and other waterways, emerged as a major contributing factor to the scale of the tragedy. With limited transportation options available, passengers are often crammed onto vessels, their numbers far exceeding safety limits. This disregard for safety regulations, coupled with lax enforcement and inadequate oversight, has created a perilous situation in Congolese waterways. Ferries, often poorly maintained and lacking essential safety equipment, become death traps, especially when overloaded. Section 6, a region grappling with conflict and its collateral damage. The Democratic Republic of Congo, plagued by decades of conflict and instability, bears the scars of violence and neglect. The eastern part of the country, including the region surrounding Lake Kivu, has been particularly hard hit, its infrastructure decimated by years of fighting. Roads and bridges, essential lifelines connecting communities and facilitating trade, have been destroyed or fallen into disrepair, making travel by land treacherous and, in some cases, impossible. This has forced people to rely on waterways, including Lake Kivu, as their primary mode of transportation. The ongoing conflict has also hampered efforts to improve safety regulations and enhance oversight of water transportation. Resources already stretched thin are diverted to address security concerns, leaving critical areas like transportation safety underfunded and overlooked. Section 7. The urgent need for action, safety first. The ferry disaster on Lake Kivu, a tragedy that claimed the lives of dozens of innocent people, served as a wake-up call for the Democratic Republic of Congo and the international community. It underscored the urgent need for action to improve water transportation safety and prevent future tragedies. Addressing the issue of overcrowding is paramount. Strict enforcement of passenger limits on ferries is crucial, along with the imposition of hefty penalties for violations. This will require a concerted effort from the government to allocate resources and manpower to enhance oversight and ensure compliance. Investing in the training and equipping of maritime safety agencies is also essential. Providing these agencies with the resources, manpower and authority to conduct regular safety inspections of vessels, enforce regulations and respond effectively to emergencies is crucial. Section 8. International response and calls for accountability. The ferry disaster on Lake Kivu sent shockwaves beyond the borders of the Democratic Republic of Congo, prompting an outpouring of condolences and offers of assistance from the international community. Governments, organizations, and individuals expressed their solidarity with the victims and their families. The United Nations, through its various agencies, mobilized resources to support the ongoing search and rescue efforts, provide medical assistance to survivors, and offer humanitarian aid to affected communities. The International Red Cross and other NGOs also stepped in to provide assistance. Beyond expressions of sympathy and offers of aid, calls for accountability grew louder. International organizations and human rights groups urged the Congolese government to conduct a thorough and transparent investigation into the disaster, to determine the cause and identify those responsible for the negligence that led to the loss of life. Section 9. Remembering the victims, a nation mourns. In the aftermath of the Lake Kivu ferry disaster, the Democratic Republic of Congo entered a period of national mourning. Flags flew at half-mast and communities across the nation came together to grieve the loss of life. Offering condolences and support to the families of the victims, the tragedy touched the lives of countless people, leaving behind a trail of unimaginable grief and sorrow. Parents mourned the loss of their children, their futures extinguished in a moment of unimaginable horror. Spouses were left heartbroken, their partners taken from them too soon. Amidst the grief and despair, stories of resilience and compassion emerged. Communities rallied around the families of the victims, offering comfort, support, and a shoulder to cry on. Volunteers worked tirelessly, providing food, water, and other essentials to those who had lost everything. Section 10. Looking ahead, preventing future tragedies. The Lake Kivu ferry disaster, a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the human cost of neglect, presents the Democratic Republic of Congo with an opportunity to learn from tragedy and prevent future disasters. Addressing the root causes of the disaster, including overcrowding, lax safety regulations, and inadequate infrastructure, will require a sustained and multifaceted approach. The government must demonstrate a genuine commitment to improving water transportation safety, prioritizing the well-being of its citizens. Investing in the development of robust and resilient transportation infrastructure, including roads, bridges and railways, is crucial to reduce reliance on waterways and provide safer alternatives for travel. This will require a concerted effort to attract investment, both domestic and international, and to ensure transparency and accountability in the allocation of resources. The journey ahead will be long and arduous, but the memory of those lost in the Lake Kivu ferry disaster must serve as a constant reminder of the human cost of inaction. The Democratic Republic of Congo, with the support of the international community, must seize this opportunity to create a safer and more secure future for its citizens.